The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. The topics discussed may include drugs, alcohol, or be sexual in nature. This show is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. I'm serious. It's dirty. Really, really dirty. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage, sit back, and let's get this fucking show started.
Fantastic Forum, assemble! You listen to Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books, and your weekly conversation about pop culture and entertainment. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from the Fantastic Forum Studios in Los Angeles. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on wherever you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us. We'll help you take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, on Skype, he is our intrepid senior reporter. He's next in line for the cowl. He is our resident Dark Knight detective. It's Oz.
That was some baby making intro.
Indeed it was. Indeed it was. Next, we have our riddle inside of an enigma, trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
What's up?
And as for myself, my name is Lawrence Young. They call me Mayor Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. We got a great show for you today. We are going to be talking to you all about the Marvel's Avengers beta that happened this past weekend. We are going to be talking to you all about the comic book titles that we would publish if we were editors-in-chief or editor-in-chiefs at DC Comics. And we are going to bring you some reviews of Junji Ito's Smashed and Cat Diary. So we got all that, and plus whatever else it is that you all want to talk about. But I guess, and we'll tell you how it is that you can let us know what you want to talk about and how you can get in with the show in just a moment. But before we do all that, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, who, without him, this show wouldn't be possible, wouldn't be in existence. So thanks, Scott. We appreciate you, buddy. Yeah. I forget. Are we doing the intern? Is the intern happening? All right.
Yeah.
The intern. Ladies and gentlemen, the intern.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at allgames.com. Join the party. You know you want to.
I know I want to.
I fucked up. I didn't time it right to say Fantastic Forum.live.
It's okay. Fantasticforum.live is where you need to go, people. If you want to jump into the chat room, if you want to go ahead and go to fantasticforum.live. You can see the live stream there if you want to, right?
Yeah, that you can watch the stream there. You could catch our other episodes and join us in the social media stuff.
All types, and basically everything that we do, you can mess with at fantasticforum.live. So go there. You can jump into chat. You can jump into the show. You can watch the show, whatever you want. Mess with it there. So we want you to do that. We're encouraging you to do it. For those of you that don't know, it's been a little warmer than usual in California. So forgive me. I'm using a new webcam, courtesy of Moses Magnum. Appreciate you helping me out with that, buddy. And I'm trying a slightly different setup and whatnot, with some new angles. But if you all can see beads of sweat, it's like, I'm sorry. I should have had some sort of handkerchief or something. I don't know. I'm sitting here like, man, it is hot. But I'm always hot, so.
Luckily, that camera is not that high quality.
Okay, good. Thank God for SD. No. So, hopefully, it's not offending anyone. But if it is, hey, God, we might have just lost a listener. Like, oh, no, it's like, enough of this. Enough. I agree. So, gents, everybody's doing good? You all ready to get into it? Okay.
Tire Client Chat says new Fantastic Forum intro.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, look, courtesy of none other than Jay. Jay, man, I like it.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't actually get the chance to hear it beforehand. So that was my first time hearing that, and it's I heard, of course, you shared with me a bit of the it in its infancy, what it was, what you were messing with beforehand. So I knew what track you were on. But to hear it finished, I was like, oh, dude, this is really nice, man. I don't know where you've been hiding this talent, but I'm happy it surfaced. Listen, quarantine, it's one of those quarantine gems,
Right.
Yeah.
I actually made a video to go with it just as an intro, but it's just like a proof of concept. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do, man. I would love to see that.
Because when we watch the music, if there's a like a TV show, we're doing video now, so you got to see something while the music is playing.
Indeed. I do see Hexzilla in chat. Hexzilla says, "I'm watching. Be happy. LOL." That does make me happy. I'm glad Hexzilla's here. I'm also seeing Tiger Claw, of course, which you mentioned already too. Tiger Claw says, "What's up, Fantastic Forum? DC Fandom is happening this Saturday. Any ideas on what they might be unveiling, and what kind of announcements are you expecting?" I have no expectations for DC's Fandom. Is that wrong?
Well, they're on damage control for firing everybody. Right now they don't know what they're doing. Supposedly we're still getting that 5G Batman by the dude from 12 Years a Slave, but I think that was a surprise to him.
I'll be honest. There were 3 comic book conventions this weekend, and I went to not one of them.
Wait, this past weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, and they were all virtual, I take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't go to any one of them.
Do you remember what they are? I don't even know what we're talking about. What did I miss?
New York Comic Con.
New York Comic Con was this past weekend? Virtual New York Comic Con?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Damn, they must not be marketing that at all, huh?
Well, the thing is, they were supposed to do it in person, and they, after fan backlash, because people from all over the country can't just go there.
Right.
They're doing it anyway, and then everybody got mad, and then they canceled it.
Okay, so they were planning on just doing in person.
Yeah.
And at the last minute, they had to make it virtual.
Right. So that's
New York was open though, right? New York's open, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, people can't go from anywhere just like that, you know.
Well, they should have did it local.
But that's what they're gonna do. But the people that bought tickets were mad from other states. So they're like, that's what I'm telling you. Like,
why don't you just refund those people though? Or they can be mad. It's not about the money. They're just like, hey, you can't have the convention if I can't come.
People aren't trying to give money back right now because they can't survive without that money they got in advance. So they just did it virtual, and their tickets are going to be worth something next year.
Sometimes people just want to be a part of shit. Like, there's this one story. There was They Might Be Giants concert, and part of the audience stands like collapsed, and a bunch of people had to go to the hospital. And when the band visited after the show, they were upset because, not because of the collapse, but because they missed the rest of the show.
What? I don't understand. Like, don't get me wrong. I could totally get the idea of being disappointed that you can't travel to attend New York Comic Con. I understand that. What I don't understand is if the state happens to be in good enough shape for that that event to happen live, why would you be mad because the state's doing it live still? Like, let the people who can, like, there's a whole city of people a whole city of comic book fans that haven't gotten the opportunity to do anything for the last, 5-6 months that would love to go to a comic book convention. And if they can, why not let them?
Well,
going to town with that water, Jay. Stay hydrated, brother. Stay hydrated.
Oh, I got you.
I'm not mad at you. I was just like, well, damn it, where did that even come from? It was just like, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
I'm out of cups.
Wait, hey, man, look, this is what happens when you get into the video era. Okay, continue, Moses. What were you going to say? I'm sorry, brother.
People want to go, and if some people don't get to go,
it's a problem.
Yeah, it's the same reason why we all hate Twilight. We don't hate it because it's a crappy movie. We hate it because it ruined our Comic-Con. You know what I mean?
I would just go on the record and say I don't hate Twilight. I think mostly because I don't give Twilight that much energy. But I do understand what you're saying in the sense that Twilight took over Comic-Con for a year or two. But I wouldn't even hate it for that. That's honestly, it wasn't Twilight the same year Scott Pilgrim happened?
No.
That wasn't the same? So. Oh, okay.
It was the year after.
Oh, okay.
Or Twilight was before, but
yeah.
That's just how it goes, man. They basically, New York Comic Con had the attitude of fuck it, we're doing it, and that's it. They didn't ask the people that bought tickets hey, they just but all this to say that's why you didn't know. That's why they didn't promote, because they had planned for a virtual experience.
Wow, I definitely would have messed with that if I had known it was happening.
Yeah,
because New York, not only is New York Comic Con, at least from what I've heard, a good convention, but it's a convention I've never had the opportunity to participate in any shape, form, or fashion, just because I'm not over on the East Coast like that during that time.
I'm never on.
In chat says I'm indifferent towards Twilight.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the general, at least, well, not general, because you're right. There are people out there that are not big fans of Twilight. I saw the first one, I think. It wasn't a great flick.
But it wasn't awful.
No, I didn't say that.
Even worse.
Absolutely. Say it again, Mo.
It was a good superhero movie.
Oh, I don't know if I would say that.
Yeah.
You think so?
A dude with powers that falls in love with a chick that has nothing special going on.
Whoa! What? Wait a minute. What are you trying to say about our heroines in these comic book movies?
Oh, I'm talking about Thor.
Oh,
First Thor
okay.
movie.
Okay, listen, Jane Foster about to show you though. She about to show. Listen, she gonna make you eat those words in Love and Thunder.
Well, yeah, in the movie now, but not in the first one.
I mean,
That's a totally separate movie.
Yeah, okay. I'm just saying, you're talking about the character like
they brought her back for Endgame just to get some juice out of her.
What does that mean?
Jane Foster came back for Endgame, but didn't do anything there either, except lay there while a raccoon juices her, milks the ether out of her.
I mean, that happened off screen, right? Did that happen on screen?
She's still there. They showed her on screen.
No. Okay.
Tiger Clan Chat says Twilight did start the whole adapting young adult novels into movies. So, yeah, I guess it probably does deserve a little hate for that.
I mean, was Twilight pre-Harry Potter?
Yeah, but that didn't.
That wasn't young adult. That was little kiddie shit.
Oh, does Harry Potter not count as young adult?
No, that was
No,
children.
it is, but than young adult.
You froze for a second, Jay. Say that sentence one more time.
Oh, it's more on the fantasy side than the young adult side.
As opposed to Twilight with vampires and the werewolves?
Yeah, that's more on the young adult side.
Oh, dude.
Because they're young
Okay.
adults. Like the characters are young adults. Harry Potter are little kids. That's
Yeah, Harry Potter
Harry more like
doesn't become young adult till like the third or fourth book.
and movies till like the 7th.
Listen, everybody in Harry Potter was of age by the third movie.
Yeah. Like Harry Potter is more in line with like the Narnia books than like your Hunger Games. You know what I mean?
Okay. That's an interesting distinction. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I probably haven't put enough thought into all of this. So it's like in my mind, I think about like Harry Potter, Narnia, Twilight, and Hunger Games all in the same pot for the most part. But I can see the distinction you all are making. Where it's like,
I haven't put that much thought into it either, but it's my job to have an opinion.
Indeed. It's like I get it. Where you're like teen angst. You're like Narnia and Harry Potter doesn't have teen angst until much later. Whereas Twilight and Hunger Games starts off with teen angst. Go ahead, Oz.
A little bit off topic, but along the same thread, because it just like literally last night, kind of blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we always hear the joke of, "Oh, that guy's 30 playing a high school student," and I just recently found out that the girl that plays Wildcat in Stargirl is 28.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. I am shocked.
She looks pretty young. Oh, what you saying?
I'm just shocked that Oz still manages a way to talk about Stargirl even after it's over.
You know Oz, buddy. Listen.
Wait till we talk about our DC books.
It's interesting because it's so funny. We were watching Nia and I were watching this last season of Flash. And Nia was like I don't know, like spoiler alert if you're not current with Flash or whatever. But there's in some of these latter seasons, the daughter of Barry Allen and Iris comes from the future. What?
I'm not current.
You didn't hear me say spoiler alert?
No, you cut off.
Oh well, look, that's your. I was about to say, I'm like that. Look, I'm blaming down your internet. No, but yeah, and so Nia is like super hating on this chick because she's like, man, that girl's older than them, and I was like, Nia, I don't know if that chick is older than them. You know, I'm sitting here like, come on, like she looks like a. She's probably not a kid, obviously, because, you know, anytime you can not pay a child, you use an adult. So I'm sure she's an adult, but I'm like, she's not older than them. And sure enough, I looked it up, and she is in fact older than both Barry and Iris. Not combined, but definitely older than both of them. And I was like, man, you were right, Nia. Which, you know, I guess this goes back to the point, like, Nia's right.
Yeah. I don't know why you're so surprised.
And listen, it's not her correctness I'm surprised by. It's my continued stupidity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doubt.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm.
When it comes to me and Nia, we're never wrong.
You see how they do? All right. Let's get into this Marvel's Avengers beta. So this past weekend was the open beta on PlayStation 4 and the pre-order beta for Xbox for Marvel's Avengers game, which has been much hyped. I want to say, I feel like the first time they talked about this game, period, or the first announcement was, I guess maybe like, it must be like 2017. I feel like was the teaser, and it was like Marvel Avengers, which, you know, I think at that time we were all thinking like, oh wow, okay, cool, we're gonna get like a game in line with, you know, in time for these movies. You know what I'm saying? Or wait, when did those movies come out?
Like 2012.
No, what about the last two?
Oh, 2019 and 2018.
Okay. Thank you, Mo. Not the first movie. the movies that would be coming out after the game got announced, Mo. Those movies. I know personally, I thought we might get a game in line with one of those movies, which I'm not the dude that's like, hey, games need to come with movies. I'd rather a good game than a mediocre game that came out during the marketing scheme for the movie and all that. But, you know, that they announced it, so that was what everybody thought. And then it was announced that it was going to be like Square Enix. And I know for, you know, a lot of people were like, oh man, is this going to be like an RPG? Which I was like, man, it would be kind of cool to get an Avengers RPG, which I was certain it was probably going to be like action-y RPG. But, you know, I was like, you know, you take what you can get. But it turned out that what we ended up getting was a third-person action looter game. You know, yeah, you can't say looter shooter, right? Unless you're Iron Man.
No,
maybe if you're Iron Man.
It's all shooter. I know, like
it's all shooter.
Playing as Hulk, like the best thing to do is just do the Gears of War, take cover, aim, and throw rocks. And then when I played as Kamala Khan, that's the same thing. Like I just hit L, the aim button, and then the trigger button, and boom, just punch all far away. Like that even with Abomination, like I felt like that Abomination fight should have been more like the boss battle from the first God of War. And it wasn't that. Like even with the Hulk and the Abomination, I was just jumping and doing that hit, powering up, and then throwing rocks at them. Like in every character you play like that. When I played as Black Widow, I just shot my guns. When I was Thor, I just shot my hammer. When I was Captain America, I just shot my shield. Like, it's the same control scheme for every character, and it's just a shooter. It's a shooter disguised as like versatile gameplay, depending on what character you play as. But it really, like, I wished it would have been an Avengers Academy game, and you just play unknown people trying to get into the Avengers, and then, you know, figure it out from there. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Avengers Academy game. Wow. that's a concept for you. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's like just sitting here thinking about that, it's like obviously there would be people that it's like, well, if I'm getting an Avengers game, I don't know if I want to play as people that aren't people I know. But at the same time, it would be kind of cool, the idea of like, especially if they use like some of the characters that actually were in like Avengers Academy. Like, even if they took some liberties, that would be really interesting to me. Yeah. But that's me speaking as a comic fan, of course. So
you can't get COVID over YouTube, right?
Maybe it's pretty virulent. Let me put my mask on. Oz, you got to play the beta. What were your thoughts on Marvel's Avengers?
Meh. It was okay. Not something I'm gonna buy.
Not something you would buy.
It's funny.
Huh? What'd you say?
Funny?
It's funny because in my head, I was like, if I was Oz, what would I say about this game? And I feel like your response was almost verbatim what I thought in my head. And so it makes me laugh.
Hey,
because you're my friend and I know you.
Like,
huh?
I might pick it up like next year when it's in the quarter bin.
The quarter bin, man. This was not even it's not even a video game anymore. It's like an old comic.
I didn't really enjoy the multiplayer all that much, and the gameplay just wasn't that good.
Mm-hmm.
I expected the fighting to be more. I mean, I guess I can't say like Arkham Asylum, but at least give me Assassin's Creed quality fighting. You know, it's just a lot of enemy spawning and just button mashing your way through a story, through a mission.
I hear you. Okay,
None of you guys recorded gameplay, right?
No, I know I didn't.
Yeah, I was trying to, but I was having issues because rolling blackouts and shit.
Yeah.
And they made me play because I was trying to play with you guys, but they made me play that multiplayer thing, and then it looked like, okay, you get people on this mission, and then no, that's the one mission I still have to do after playing the single player stuff.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: it's essentially King of the Hill on Halo, and it's like, or capture the flag, but you're alone. So it's like I'm just supposed to stay here while they swarm me, like.
Oh no! If you were in a mission where you had to one of those missions where you had to stay in the circle to, I feel like that is a multiplayer mission.
Everything looked like a multiplayer mission, except that every time I try to do multiplayer, it says I'm not allowed to because I have to finish this mission.
No, that's weird. When you get to that portion, at least for me, those were multiplayer missions.
Right.
But
and that's the thing. So I went to the war table, like how you're supposed to, and I'm like, okay, from here on, it's multiplayer. Like it sounds like multiplayer. It says add team members, add whatever. I'm like, this is the multiplayer, and they just paired me with the Hulk, and we went at it. But it wouldn't let me do multiplayer. It wouldn't let me accept requests, and I felt like I was already in the multiplayer section of it, and I clearly wasn't.
Hexzilla's in chat. He says this game sounds like ass. Jay, talk to Hexzilla real quick. Is this game ass, Jay?
No, it's all right.
Okay, talk to me. Why do you feel like the game is not ass?
I mean, it plays all right. Yeah, it's weird. There's no compass, but other than that, it plays fine.
Now, when you say there's no compass, you mean the game doesn't tell you where you should be, the objectives are?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have the trail.
You have to turn on the tactical view for that.
Right.
I don't know if is that what when you hit up on the
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was okay with that. I mean, it's more than I got in Skyrim.
I feel like Skyrim is a
Skyrim
different
has a compass, like at the top of the screen.
Yeah, but when I'm trying to go, like it's in a mountain somewhere, and it's like it's pointing there, but I can't go through this mountain. That's a pain in the ass. Like if we just showed me the trail, I could just follow the trail.
Keeping in mind too that Skyrim and Marvel's Avengers are two completely different type of games. Like,
I mean, I get
Well,
that.
in Skyrim, if you learn the clairvoyant spell, then
again,
you just push a button and the trail shows up.
I don't want to play a game for 4 hours till I can get a trail. All right. Like I have to learn a skill to get a trail. Like,
but Skyrim, and don't get me wrong, like I'm not speaking from experience here because I didn't put a lot of hours into Skyrim, but Skyrim is a game that encourages exploration and like it's built so that you don't necessarily have like a direct route
right
into what's happening or where you're supposed to go per se.
Right.
But the game that is Avengers, that the Avengers game is not built for that. It's not a game you explore in, well, light exploration, but not heavy exploration. Yeah.
I did enjoy playing the game. Like the beginning was like really cool. Then the fucking Kamala Harris one was cool too, but that was okay. I don't like the idea of Hulk fighting robots. Like that's just dumb. Like
what's wrong with Hulk fighting robots?
Well, they're not particularly strong robots. I
hear you.
They make them strong so that it'd be a challenge. Snipers, but it's like
it's kind of the same type of thing you run into when you make a Superman game.
Exactly. And then it's AIM. AIM has like people agents that you can kill, but ever since Disney took over, all you get is robots everywhere. And like aliens that you don't care about. So it's like whatever happened to people, like superheroes fighting people, like bad people, like AIM had agents that you fight,
right?
And a lot of them are fodder, but some of them aren't. Depends.
Right.
But you fight people. Yeah, they're bad people. Yeah.
It's interesting just because I will say that I feel like I played through the single player portion of the game, which took me longer than I thought because there was a point when I got to the war table and I thought also I was like ready to do multiplayer, and it turned out that no, there was still like another mission or two that I needed to do single player. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll do that. Or it wasn't single player. I'm sorry. You could only have one person on your team. That's what it was.
Right. That's where I was at.
Right. So it was like a thing where it was like
technically we did a multiplayer mission where I had to be Hulk and you had to be Kamala.
Right. And so that was like the first war table mission you do where there's two people, you could technically have one person play multiplayer with you. But all four of us couldn't play. You had to get through the harm room before you could have 4-player multiplayer. Which I don't know if you even got to. Did you even get to the harm room, Mo?
Nah, by Sunday, like my internet was down all day.
Nah, that sucks, man. I know those rolling blackouts were affecting Long Beach more than everybody else, so that sucks.
I wasn't in Long Beach. I was at my house here in LA. But
I'm tripping. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was in my LA mansion, not my Long Beach mansion. But so here's the thing. Saturday, I forgot you wanted to watch Dude's Dry Hump, and
you are.
But the thing is, I wake up at 5 every day.
I know.
So, but when you told me you were ready and you had already like blown your third load watching Dude's Dry Hump, I was like, I was asleep, and then it wasn't working
at 9:30.
Yeah, I was knocked the fuck out. I was knocked the fuck out. Siri was like, Larry wants you. And I'm like,
is that what Siri said?
Yeah.
Larry's like, you sleep?
WYD. But I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. It's still 9:30. So then I was down, I was ready to go, and then it wasn't happening because I still had to do the harm room thing and that other mission. So I'm like, no,
yeah,
tomorrow. So I woke up early to try it the next day, and it didn't. Like that, for internet was bad.
I understand, and it's interesting just because I will say that it's like I was actually like I played this through the single player missions, and they were all right. Mm-hmm. And I was really looking forward to playing multiplayer, which I did get to play with Jay and with Oz. Obviously, like because of what you just mentioned, you didn't get to join us, Mo. And playing with them wasn't a bad experience. It was just that it almost feels like the game doesn't necessarily like it doesn't feel like multiplayer was a priority, even though it was made to be like, I mean, obviously they're trying to do it like a looter shooter, like games as a service kind of deal. So I know multiplayer was like definitely a thing, or at least persistent gameplay was a part of it. But I don't know. It like honestly, I will say this. Here's the biggest point. The biggest point I think I want to make. I'm not certain an Avengers game is made, or this genre is not built for an Avengers game, in my opinion. It's like it's not the kind of property that you put this formula with, in my opinion. So that's I think that is basically the biggest point or the biggest takeaway from the beta. So we do have some questions in chat from Tiger Claw. Jay, you want to read these real quick?
Yeah. Tiger Claw in chat says you can fly around as Iron Man and explore the levels. Not really.
I think the right answer to that is it depends on the level, but there's only like one level in this game that maybe even is slightly conducive to that, right? Or at least in the beta. Again, in the beta. I shouldn't say in the game, in the beta.
Right.
But it doesn't feel like the kind of game that's going to be like in the way that Tiger Claw said it. It doesn't sound like it's going to be the kind of game where that's going to be a part of it.
Right.
Yeah, it's not going to be an open world game.
Right.
Tiger Claw in chat also asks, is the game linear or does it let you go anywhere you want? Yeah, pretty much lets you, like, you're at the war table and you've got a set of missions you can do. And I don't know if there were story missions there, but it looks like you can pretty much just go around solving different, like, or whatever mission you want at any time you want. Like, as long as it's open.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say from the beta perspective because obviously, I think they were trying to give you like different chunks of the game. And I know personally, I didn't get to play through everything, but it does feel like we're trying to give you different chunks of the game to kind of give you like a bit of a idea of what the experience is going to be like. I am interested to hear what you all thought, and I think I'm gonna start with you, Oz. But I would love to hear from everybody. What were your thoughts on the whole idea of like the whole gear system and like looting like
I hated it.
Materials and all this kind of stuff? Like, yeah, what you hated it, Oz? What didn't you like about it?
It bugged me that I could upgrade my gear, get different armor and things like that, but the character, what it looks like, never changes.
Yeah, I hear that.
Especially, if it is a Square Enix game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, Final Fantasy.
They're the publishers. They're the publishers.
Yeah, you get a new weapon, it's represented visually on your character, both in combat and just walking around. And I understand they can't do that too much, but to not do it at all was just kind of weird. And it felt like they're trying to sell me the skins for the character.
Well, I will say this: two things. One, it is published by Square, but Crystal Dynamics, I think, is the actual studio that's making it. So that's one thing. But then also, I will say that I don't know that it's necessarily outside the realms of that particular genre. And I might be wrong here, and maybe you all can help me, because I don't play a lot of looter shooters. And, maybe somebody in chat that's listening can speak to this too. But I'll speak. Like the other looter shooter that I play is The Division. So in Division and Division 2, it's not uncommon that you have, like, say, for instance, gear and perks and stuff like that affect your character, but that don't necessarily affect the visuals. Like there's the aesthetic aspect, and then, or a cosmetic aspect, and then there's like the stats aspect. And so if you want your character to look different, you can change the way your character looks on its own, and it doesn't affect gear or whatever. I will say that, technically speaking, like there's like the only other experience I have with something like that is with Star Wars: The Old Republic, which of course is an MMO. It's not a looter shooter, but it's a thing where you do have gear, and the gear in the Old Republic will change your stats, but you can decide if you want that gear to show or if you don't want it to show. And you can also change the gear in certain ways cosmetically, but that's a whole different thing. It's obviously a much deeper system for that kind of stuff in an MMO than it is for a looter shooter. But yeah, I don't know. What do you all have to say about that, and in regards to what Oz was talking about and your own experience with gear and such? What do you think, Jay?
Well, yeah, like you said, there's normally like a cosmetic side, and there's normally a gear side. They're like kind of separate.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I didn't have that much issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been nice to have some better costumes.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that there were ways to earn different costumes in the beta, but you had to play. And again, I mean, keeping in mind, it's the beta, it's not the full game. So, but still,
well, they did give you credits to, so you can actually like add stuff to your character. But I don't think you could keep that when the game launched. But
no, I don't think so.
I did try changing my shirt when I was Kamala Khan,
mm-hmm.
and it didn't change. And I was like, oh, that's
weird. You mean but you changed the gear, but you didn't go and buy like something new from the cosmetic side.
It was a different shirt. Like it was like a golden shirt, and it didn't show up when I equipped it.
Oh, really? So you bought a cosmetic shirt and it didn't show up when you switched it?
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to waste my time with this.
Because I know when I played with Jay,
yeah, I bought the Throg outfit.
Yeah, he had a full Throg costume. Like, which I didn't recognize as Throg at first, because the Throg costume is basically like, Kamala Khan, which is in line with her character in the comics, is a superhero like fangirl.
Yeah.
And so she loves all of, like, she basically, in the comic, she was a big, Miss Marvel fangirl. And so she had like a t-shirt that was like a Miss Marvel t-shirt. In this, she's like a superhero fangirl and knows everything about like all the Avengers. And so she has like, they have like a t-shirt for each of the different Avengers for her to wear. So when I saw Jay, I was like, oh, he has a Thor shirt. That's cool, because I hadn't seen that yet. And he was like, no, it's not Thor. It's Throg. And I was like, what? And then I noticed he had on like a frog hat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that is Throg. That's pretty funny. Like I was like, I'll give him props for that because I did not realize that it was a Throg outfit until Jay said something, but that was because I wasn't looking hard enough. Like I should have been paying attention.
I think what I put on was like one of the perks things, and it didn't change.
Well, see, and that's the thing. That's exactly what we're talking about. Where when you change the perks for your gear, it changes your stats, but it doesn't change your physical appearance. But there's like a whole section that was literally just for only costume changes. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't like it was like super detailed. It's not like you could change like your pants versus your shirt versus your, everything. But it did. Well, I guess what I can say is it depends. Like you could go into that section, which I don't remember what it's called. Was it called outfits?
Cosmetics.
You go into the cosmetics section, and they had like classic like costumes for all the heroes, and you could preview them even though you couldn't actually get them. Like I know, because you start off as playing, or you start off, well, I should say start off, but a good portion of the gameplay is you as Hulk. It's like I was looking at the cosmetic costumes for Hulk, and they showed you like Mr. Fix-It, and they showed you like the original Hulk. And like you could preview all of those looks. You couldn't play them, but you could see what they would look like if your character was one of those characters. And I was like, oh wow, like that's kind of cool, I mean, it's one of those things where I was like, I guess if you're gonna make a game like this should be a part of it. So yeah, I don't know.
I felt like this game was like Ultimate Alliance, but just not done as like the little dungeon crawly. Like if they made it a third-person shooter.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that.
Yeah, which I'm okay with. I don't know how important the multiplayer is. I think I can play the game on its own. If it was well, you got me at this war table too, where it's like story missions and non-story. Like that might drive me away. Just give me a story game.
But here's and I will say that I agree in that aspect, in the sense that so far, like as much as like I liked playing with Jay and with Oz, but it didn't feel as if the game was built for that multiplayer aspect to me. And it's like any of those missions, you can literally like pick bots to be played as the other heroes, and it honestly might be a better experience because you're more in control of what's happening. Like I'm not gonna tell Oz or Jay how to play the game,
right,
or what we need to be doing or don't need to be doing, but it's one of those things where it's kind of like, well, there's certain points like there was a point we were all playing and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is a puzzle or something. But if Oz and Jay move forward, like it's not like I'm going to be sitting there figuring out the puzzle, because even if I leave them to do their thing and I'm trying to figure that out, it's like the game at some point is going to be like, oh, well, they went too far. You got to assemble, which it literally does. It literally is like assemble in, and it gives you like a countdown before you like get drugged forward with the rest of the players. So it's kind of like, well,
that's just when you're switching, switching levels.
Yeah, like, but still,
doors.
Right, but that's the point though, where if the puzzle's in the level we're at, I could totally be like, hey, Oz, Jay, come back. And I know you all will come back, but at the same time, I'm like, well, if y'all not trying to figure out the puzzle, who am I to be like, hey, man, come figure out this puzzle? Huh?
I didn't even see the puzzle.
I understand.
Like, hey, there's a puzzle. Nobody came back. Like,
no, listen, I'm not saying you wouldn't do it. You would do it for me. But at the same time, if you all are not about that, if you're not about that puzzle life, you know what I'm saying?
Or you cut out.
It's a weird thing playing multiplayer with Lawrence, because Jay and I, we're over there like fighting an army of robots and looking around like, where's Lawrence? Oh, look at this poster on the wall. It's so cool looking.
Yeah. No, that's 100% me. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, like I understand that most gamers aren't that. And so, especially with this kind of game, it almost makes me feel like I have to play the whole thing on my own first before I play with anybody else. Just so I could be like, let me savor what I want to savor in the game. And like the only time I'm gonna play multiplayer is if it's like I've been to that level already.
But I do get what you're saying, because even like it's an exaggeration the way you do it, because you do like to enjoy everything around you in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But like what I had been playing these missions by myself the whole day before,
right?
And so when we played our first mission together, like I knew there was loot over there. There's like equipment stuff over there,
right?
Equipment stuff over there, and I started going towards that. And you guys are actually going to the mission objective, so I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're doing that then.
Yeah, exactly. And and don't get me wrong. I mean, that's a common thing in looter shooters. But I look, again, I'm speaking from my limited experience. But what I can say is I understand that that's something that happens in like the games that I play in, like in Division 2. But what I will say is I feel like the gameplay, or not the gameplay, but the level design is more geared to the idea that that's something that people might be trying to do. Like they're trying to get gear. And I don't know that the game design and the level design in this game is made for that. It's almost like it's single player level design, but put into multiplayer format. Because like the same way how like say, like we've all played games pretty much our entire lives. A video game will mess around and give you a little extra something here and there every so often for looking in a nook or cranny that it wouldn't make sense for you to go look in. It'll give you like a bonus where you're just like, oh wow, like good for you for exploring this level. That's something that's like
that's Breath of the Wild.
Right.
Every 5 minutes.
Right. But keeping in mind, Breath of the Wild is a single player game. And so it's like, okay. What do you mean not how you play it? What are you talking about?
Oh, because Animal Crossing started fucking up, so Emily started playing Breath of the Wild, so then we just played together.
Well, yeah, okay, but it's still, look, you all are deciding where to go together. That's still a single player experience. It's two minds but one game. But what I'm saying is, obviously, it's like the way that you do that in the level design when you know that there's like multiple people running around a screen is different. And I know like in Division 2, it's like, yeah, they put like some special gear in a little nook or cranny, or they might even say like, okay, you have to take the time to figure out how to get this piece of gear if you want it, if you really want it. However, it's put along the route in such a way that everybody that's going knows like, oh, they're trying to go for this gear. As opposed to like, making the level design where it's like you get to a impasse and it's like say you get to a hallway and if you go left, you get special gear. But if you go right, you're doing the objective. And it's like, that's not multiplayer level design. Because if you're going completely the wrong direction than the objective, it's like half your team is probably going to go right to the objective. The other half might go left, but if they go left, they probably either know there's something down there or they're going to go try to see if there's something down there. And the rest of your team is like basically either fighting something big on its own or getting ready to push an elevator button that is going to bring you back to them And it's just like, yeah, that's like it should be built different, like more along the way, or more in a way that entices everyone to try to get whatever that piece of gear is, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I will say this. Overall for me, I was like, the things that I was seeing from Marvel's Avengers was it had me worried about this game. Having actually played it now, I'm in a slightly better, like, I feel slightly better about it than I did just watching some of the stuff that happened, especially prior to all of the aesthetic changes they made to the characters and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I'm not particularly jazzed about it. You know, I don't know that it's going to be a day one purchase for me. And so that's saying a lot, considering how big of an Avengers fan I am. So I don't know. What do you say, Jay?
Say again?
What do you say? What are your final thoughts on Marvel's Avengers?
Overall, I thought it was good. There are a couple things they need to work out with the multiplayer, especially. I actually don't mind the kind of people running around doing their own shit type of stuff. So that's not a big issue for me. I would like them to put in some more characters.
Supposedly, there's a lot of characters coming. Like, people have been data mining stuff and have seen all types of characters. I didn't look at it because I wasn't necessarily in the mind of like saying, like, I wasn't certain if I wanted all that spoiled for me or not, because I'm like, I might get it one day. But, you know, yeah, but supposedly there's a lot of characters on the horizon.
Yeah, depending. This is probably one of those games I would have bought day one if I could afford it, but I definitely don't have to.
Right.
And, I thought it was pretty cool, but they just got to work out some stuff and maybe get some better costumes. Also, the one thing I don't like is there don't seem to be that many passive abilities, which that's actually kind of a problem for me.
You like passive abilities?
Yeah, I love passive abilities.
I'm not mad at that.
And all their abilities are active.
Many of them are, yes. Yeah.
But yeah, those are my final thoughts on it.
Now, go ahead. I know what passive abilities are. You don't need to explain it for me. So for those people in the audience that might not know, what are those?
Say again?
What is a passive ability versus an active ability, Jay?
Okay. Is something you do, like add one to your combo. That's an active ability. A passive ability would be like when you do your combo, something automatically happens. So like doing this combo will stun the enemy or steal health, like shit you don't have to think about, really, like shit that's in the background.
Yeah, there are some, but yeah, you're right. Like, it wasn't, most of them were active.
I know when I was looking, I didn't see any, and I don't think I looked at every single thing, but it was, the fact that there were no passive abilities in like the first two rows of abilities.
Oh, you know what? I don't know that I saw anything passive in regards to the because you're talking about the skill tree.
Yeah.
And the skill tree for the beta, they said like that's like literally just the first page of the skill tree. Is that every character has 3. So that was the first page of the skill tree. So I don't know if. What were you gonna say? Oh, was that just me? Okay, never mind. I don't know if there's going to be passive abilities on the skill tree, all the passive abilities I saw were gear related.
Oh.
And so it was literally like there was one that was like, okay, you get like cosmic energy at the end of a combo. And I did also see like there was actually a gear one that was like Pym particles, which I didn't actually get the chance to use, but it's like if you do the gear with the Pym particles, there was like a percentage chance that at the end of your like combo finisher, it would use Pym particles, which would actually shrink whoever it is that you were fighting.
Right. Yeah. I got those, but I mean, I need passive abilities in my skill tree.
Got you. Fair. Oz, what are your final thoughts on Avengers or Marvel's Avengers beta?
Like I said, I might pick it up in a year or two. The story part at the beginning, I kind of did enjoy, but the multiplayer, not really. And I feel like the story is going to be maybe a couple hours, 2-3 hours, something like that, and then it's going to be a multiplayer game.
Yeah, I hear that. What about you, Mo?
I kind of feel like Oz does. Like, I want to play it, but I don't feel a rush to do it, and I feel like I would get bored with it.
Yeah,
and it like the way I played here, I would get bored with it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, for me, I'm just not sure it's the type of game that I want to be playing when I'm playing as an Avenger. And I think that that's what it boils down to, where it's like, I'm not certain that, like, I was initially, when I found out, like, before the announcement or whatever, I think, or no, I think it was during the announcement when I found out an Avengers game, you know, put out by Square, I was immediately thinking, like, oh man, maybe they'll do like an Avengers RPG. And I was excited by that concept. I knew it was unlikely to be like an actual, well, not an actual, but a traditional RPG. I figured it had to be at least an action RPG. When I found out it wasn't an RPG at all, or I guess, I don't know, maybe, I mean, it's a game with RPG elements, but, you know, I don't know. At the end of the day, this genre with that property doesn't excite me in the way that I think the people that put this game out would hope. And that's unfortunate because I love Avengers and I want to like it, but it's okay. And it's not like okay is the best I could muster. So that's unfortunate. Yeah. All right. Friggin' cats out here trying to fight between the door. It's like there's a whole door in between them.
Why do they hate each other?
I listen because I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about some DC titles that we would publish if we were editor in chief at DC Comics. I'm actually really excited for this because the four of us have such different ideas in regards to like what we would like comic books to be like and what we enjoy and whatnot. And so I find it really, I think it's going to be really interesting just to kind of find out and to see what it is we decided each of these titles are going to be or what we would like them to be. So, you know, in my mind, yeah, and you all can tell me how you all want to do this, but in my mind, I would think the best way to do this is just to like each of us kind of just run down a list of what our titles would be, and then let's talk about it after the fact. How do you all feel about that?
That sounds about right.
Wait, say it again?
Literally just each of us go down a list of like what our 12 titles would be. And then after we each go through our list, we just kind of talk about like, you know, just discuss why this, why that, you know, what's the reasoning and all that kind of stuff. So will that work for you all? Are you good with that? Or do you all want to do it different?
I'm
fine with it.
Oz, you good with it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, listen, Oz, I'm gonna put you on the spot, buddy, because you're the DC guy. So I want let's start with your list first. What would be your 12 DC titles?
My list is kind of boring. I didn't get too like fantasy wise. I did more fantasy stuff in our text messages than when
That's okay.
I thought about it.
Hey man, do what you do, brother. Nobody's gonna be mad at you.
I mean, we'll be mad
because it's a business. I gotta run a business.
Mo was gonna be mad at you either way, so don't worry about Mo.
So, like my first 6 books, standard, just
okay.
trimmed out from what they already have. So, obviously, Action, Detective, and Wonder Woman, and then a Flash book, a Green Lantern book, and a Justice League book. So,
okay,
just off the back, because you gotta have it. You gotta have your main guys.
So, when you say, well, actually, I'll ask you after. That's the first 6. Got it. And then your next 6.
And then the next 6. Well, I guess there is kind of like a little fantasy title for me personally, which is like a Booster Gold, Timelines, Timeless, Time Cop, whatever you want to call it. Like, a lot like that TV show that was recently Timeless, where you know, he's traveling in time to stop people who are trying to change the past, and every once in a while something gets fucked up, so he comes back and things are different. That's kind of what his book was. And I really enjoyed that, and so I'd like to see a Booster Gold title like that, where then he interacts with different versions of characters.
Mm-hmm.
So then the rest of my books are kind of I figured that there's so many books out there that will have a good story, but that good story only covers 6 issues, and they won't have another good story for 2-3 years. And so, like, well, you like even Nightwing that I always get books. Sometimes it's a tough read, and then sometimes it's good. Same thing with Batgirl. I'm in and out of Batgirl all the time.
Right.
And, every once in a while, I get into a little Red Hood. So I figured instead of all these having to buy all these books and wrap you on the story, just kind of making less books and swapping around the characters, like having somebody submit a story. If it's good, then okay, it's going to be our next 6 issues of this. So like one of the ones I have here is a Bat Family book, where maybe there's a good Batgirl story that we can do for 6 issues. That's 6 issues. And then maybe the next 6 issues are a Red Hood story or something like that. And so I got the same. I have a book I'm calling World's Finest. You can call it Super Friends, where it's stories like that, but it's other superheroes in DC.
Non-Bat Family superheroes.
Right. Not the ones that already have their book, but a lot like Justice League International that focused on lesser known heroes.
Yeah, no, I hear that. So okay, so we're talking about Booster Gold, a World's Finest book, and then a Bat Family book, which is interesting because technically speaking, I think, and I'm not super current on Detective right now, but for the longest time, Detective was basically that kind of book. Batman was all about Batman, and Detective was like the Bat Family book. So I feel where you're going with that. So what are your last 3?
Right. So in the same vein, a Lanterns book.
Right.
At one point, we had 5 Lantern books with all the core, and some of them had great stories. Some of them did okay, but just have one where that focuses. It doesn't even have to be Green Lanterns. It could be, hey, next 6 issues, next storyline is a Red Lantern story.
So okay, so if you have a Lanterns, book, your Green Lantern book is Hal Jordan?
It's Hal Jordan or Stewart, whoever mostly Jordan, because it tends to mostly be Jordan, and then he can team up with other Earth Lanterns. But the Lanterns book could also be, a Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, or Simon Bass and Jessica Cruz. But it could also be a Red Lanterns book. It could also be a story with the Blue Lanterns.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then what's your last? You have another 2? Yes.
So same vein. I just wrote down Justice League Dark. Same idea, but now we're into magic characters, into the Swamp Things, Constantine, things like that. And then my last one is kind of like a rogues or villains, because lately they've been doing interesting things with villains as kind of anti-heroes, or there's been some good stories in other books with these characters, and I think that they could have their own book with that same concept of, now we're doing a Clayface story of his redemption. Now, here's Harley Quinn because everybody loves Harley Quinn.
Listen, that's really interesting. Like, it's because you definitely approached it like, I need DC to be profitable. Like, I was like, I'm only putting books out there that I know are going to sell, or at least that I believe are going to sell.
We've all had a pull list where a writer will get on it, and we know we're going to hate it. I hate Green Lantern right now. It's still on the pull list, but it just feels like I'm throwing money away. But the person on a Lanterns book, where he can pick whatever lanterns he wants and just do a story and go crazy, then that might be more interesting. Where he's not constrained by his main character has to be Hal Jordan.
Gotcha. That's fair. Okay. Jay. Oh, what were you gonna say, Jay?
Hexzilla has his list.
You know what? Hold on to that. We'll do Hexzilla's list right after ours.
Okay.
There it is. But give us your list, Jay.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh. Jay's about to bring that thunder.
There's no thunder.
Jay's about to get wild with this list, boy. He goes with like
Amethyst.
Amethyst, right. He's like Beast Boy trilogy.
No. So it was Batgirls, Green Lanterns, Justice League.
Wait, Batgirls?
Yeah, like a book where all the Batgirls team up.
Okay. No, that's fair. Okay, got you. Batgirls, Green Lanterns. I didn't mean to stop you. Go ahead. Keep going.
Justice League, Young Justice, Titans, Legion of Doom, Suicide Squad, Secret Six, League of Shadows, Intergang, and Dark Titans.
Listen, I know you said you didn't. It wasn't. Oh wait, what did you say? Go ahead, Oz.
Jay loves the teams, huh?
Listen,
I think it would be more profitable. Like, if you've got teams, you're gonna find people you like. So I think that's mainly what I'm doing. Like, if you like Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman, you're going to get them in Justice League. If you like Batgirls, you're going to get them in Batgirls. Green Lanterns, all your favorite lanterns will be there.
Like, you don't have any solo titles.
No, if I was in charge of DC, I would only do solo titles in like limited runs.
That's interesting. Like that is, listen, that in and of itself,
label stuff. Like Jay's Black Label would be the single character stuff.
Something like that, yeah.
I feel like a limited series, whether it's Black Label or not, basically.
Right. Like they would they wouldn't be ongoing. Like if someone has a good Superman story to tell, you can tell that story. But we're not gonna have an ongoing thing. Like, tell your story, and then we move on.
I love how you feel like that's not that controversial, Jay. I love that about you. Like, you're just like, no, like everybody will be fine. No one needs a Batman book, right? who reads just Superman?
I don't know. Like, like I don't know anyone that just reads Superman. Like, you're not reading it.
I love it.
Mo's not.
I love it.
Are you reading Superman?
You don't think Oz is reading Green? You don't feel like Oz is reading? Oz literally just said how he's reading Green Lantern, like hate reading Green Lantern because he loves Green Lantern that much.
Right, but he's not reading Superman.
Got it. You're right. There are definitely more Green Lantern fans than there are Superman fans.
I'll pick up Superman when what's his face to stop writing it.
Bendis. Moses.
Yeah,
what are your titles, buddy?
I kind of had the similar approach to Oz, where it's like you got to get stuff that's out. So I would reserve a section of it, maybe 3 issues of that 12-issue block, towards stuff that's kind of ties into the media, the TV show, and I would alternate them depending on the seasons because they go by seasons. So I'm like, okay, when it's out, I got a Flash. When, or I can do that as a team book, like the People That You See on TV is a team title. You know what I mean? And then in the summer, do your, depending on the type of year too, I would have a horror anthology going. That's the other block.
So are these 2 separate books, right? You're talking about right now? Like one book is literally just like whatever's on TV, and the second book is whatever's like the horror anthology.
There's so much TV that I would do like a block of the 12. Like 3 of those 12 issues would be stuff that was on TV.
Got it.
A team up between those characters or adventure solo or
Got it. So 3 of those books are literally mass media books.
Right. And then 3 of those are your original team, original trilogy, the Trinity, which is Batman, Superman. So that's 6 right there.
Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Right. And then I would put one, the team up book, maybe for an event or something, or lead into a massive line event. And then I would do more of the other, that's like 7 books right there. So the other 5 get a little tricky because I know what I would like.
Yeah.
Either way, that's not if I was going to replace the 20 people that left, that got fired, I don't think any of these would be on there, which would be like something more alternative and more geared towards the person that doesn't necessarily is looking for superhero books, something a little more just it's a comic graphic story, sequential art story, but it'd be where we take our chances. Now 5 issues to take your chances is tough, but those slots would keep, if something doesn't work, you can put in a Batgirl, Bat Family, or Supergirl, something else. But those 5 would be to like test out what
ideas
and miss, and then we'd expand from the
based
12,
on that.
Got it.
Got it. So, which that almost feels like New 52 in a way, where they, there was like a whole slate, like maybe like 10 titles that they were just like, hey, we're not sure if any of these will stick, but if they do, we'll keep them.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I do it. I don't know exactly, I like the idea of a Green Lantern book, but they got to do it particularly. I would almost want to take the Image approach where doing, 6 issues, taking a break, and kind of restabilizing and moving forward from there instead of just planning out a year, 2 years, 5 years in advance. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Look, that's interesting. I love it. Where it's like they're definitely taking some chances over there. I just real quick, I'm just putting this out here because it's timely. But Hexel's like, I like Jay's concept. I like it a lot. There it is. So it's interesting just because listening to each of you, I was like, I feel like there's almost like a little bit of each of what you all were trying to do in my roster, just because I was just like, like I definitely thought, well, here's the thing. For me, I was like, okay, I'm not a DC guy. And I know that about myself. So I'm just like, well, there's a part of me that's like, what would I like to read? And that knowing that I'm not the person that's normally buying DC Comics. But then at the same time, I'm like, dude, you have to make sure that there's a fan base that you have to make sure that you try to retain. And it's like, you know, part of why DC Comics, part of why they work and part of why they don't work is about the characters themselves. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you can retain the DNA of DC in my mind without scrapping everything. So I was just like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. And so I definitely have like a list of like legacy books that you just keep because it's DC Comics, right? So I definitely went with Action as my Superman title, Detective as my Batman title, Wonder Woman, Flash. Then I was like, I'm going to do Green Lantern. But the Green Lantern book is going to be Jessica Cruz. And like, it's literally a Jessica Cruz book. She's the Green Lantern for Earth. So, or not the Earth, but for Sector 2814. Is that right, Oz?
Yeah.
Yes. So that Green Lantern book is Jessica Cruz and her adventures as that sector's Green Lantern. It doesn't mean that other Green Lanterns can't be in it, but it definitely focuses on her. Then I would do a Black Lightning book, and I would do a Green Lantern Corps book, and that's where you would get all the other Green Lanterns. Like all the other Green Lanterns would be, and it's literally like in my mind, it's like that book would be all the Green Lanterns that you hope that you see. You know, probably a book that kind of centers around Hal Jordan, like leading the Green Lantern Corps, something like that. You know, whether he's like actually like the leader or just like some sort of like over field leader type deal, coordinating where what all the other Lanterns are doing. And I would take that book and use that as an opportunity to kill off like probably at least 2 Earth Lanterns. Which 2? I don't even know. But I would probably, like, over the course of that book's run, kill off at least 2 of them.
I know what one of them would be.
Which one?
It rhymes with Ron Stewart.
You know what, man? I don't know. Like, John Stewart getting killed would be really tough. But it would be big, though. It would be a big event. John Stewart dying? Come on, man. Oh, dude. But look, like, go ahead, Oz.
If it's Jessica Cruz, then there goes your other book.
What do you mean? No. Jessica Cruz won't be the one that dies because her book is the Green Lantern book. And whatever happens to those other Lanterns when they're off in those other sectors is not going to happen to her because she's in 2814. So she's good. It's going to be like Jessica Cruz won't be in that other book.
It's going to be first of all Simon Baz, because that's your excuse to why Jessica Cruz doesn't have a partner. And then the other one is Kyle Rayner because he's just useless.
Listen, I don't know. Like, honestly, in my mind, I might not kill Simon Baz just because of what it might look like. I might mess around and just go with, like, Guy Gardner and then maybe one other, which maybe is Kyle Rayner. You know, like, I feel, personally, I feel like both Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz are actually really good characters. And, you know, I don't know that I would want to necessarily get rid of either one of them. I'm not saying that Guy Gardner or Kyle Rayner aren't good characters. I'm just saying that, you know, they've had their moments. You know what I mean? So it's like, maybe it's somebody else's turn. That's all really that I'm saying. So right there, and also too, in my mind, like, I don't have a Justice League title. Because in my mind, like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Black Lightning, and Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern would kind of make like the core of like the new Justice League. And what I would do instead would be like a crossover event like once a year. That's like a Justice League story. So it's like literally like one story arc that goes through all those books where all those characters team up, and that's how I get like that Justice League flavor, and that way I can also save like the larger stories for that crossover event, and it makes it feel like okay, like we still get like that Justice League flavor. Then after that, so that right there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. That's 7 of the 12. Then my last 5 would be like a Young Justice book. My only thing was, I know for me, I was like, man, I'm not quite as familiar with who the young heroes in DC are right now. So it was harder for me to kind of figure out who would be on that team. I would try to keep the core of it similar, if possible, to like the original kind of Young Justice core. So, the current Robin, which as far as I know is still Damian Wayne, and then whoever like the most current Superboy is, and then whoever the youngest like Flash person is, which I don't know if that would still be like Impulse or what. I don't know. But I probably try to start there and then add other younger heroes. I don't know if I would go with like a Naomi per se, but I know Bendis loves her. So I don't know.
What interesting.
What?
Like putting Damian in Young Justice.
Yeah. No, I think it would be interesting too, just because he's not necessarily what you think of as like a team player.
It's interesting.
Oh.
It's interesting that you would do it. I don't think it would be interesting. I just think it's interesting that you would do that.
He's like, it's boring as hell, but hey, good luck with that.
No, it's just odd. Like, yeah, I don't know. And I guess part of that comes from because I do know where he is.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, he's running with the Teen Titans and doing this thing.
Well, but there is no Teen Titans.
What?
Oh, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. Maybe it's not that there are no Teen Titans. Maybe what would end up being my Young Justice book would morph out of what the Teen Titans was now or is now.
Right. No, it's just weird that you went with,
Who's on the Teen Titans right now?
Teen Titans right now is Damian, I believe Starfire.
Starfire?
Raven. On the Teen Titans?
Yeah.
Justice.
No, on Teen Titans.
Yeah, Starfire.
But she's not a teen, right? Starfire's a grown-ass woman.
I mean, ages fluctuate. They don't really...
Wait, but I'm saying...
ages.
I mean, Starfire and Dame and Nightwing are the same age, right?
Yeah.
So if Nightwing's a grown-ass man, Starfire's a grown-ass woman.
But I mean, is he a grown-ass man?
Yeah. Nightwing?
Yeah, like what makes him grown?
What are you talking about? Like Nightwing hasn't been a teenager for years.
You cut out. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I was saying Nightwing hasn't been a teenager for years. You heard me or no?
Yeah, I heard you. I haven't seen anything. Like I know in his book he's a spy, but you can be a spy at 18.
Okay, Jay. Well, we'll leave that at. We'll agree to disagree on if Nightwing's a man or not.
I'm not even.
He's actually a cab guy.
I don't really know. But I do know Starfire is a Teen Titan.
Got you. Okay. Hey, that's fair.
Like the Black Kid Flash.
Wally West.
Yeah, he bounces back and forth between teams.
Which teams?
Between the Teen Titans and Deathstroke's team.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, can't 100% say who's on it right now.
Yeah, that's okay.
Who else is on it?
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you, it is. Yeah, it's. Yeah, like I don't. This. Yeah, it's just weird that you would put Damian on it.
Yeah, Yeah, no, I would definitely put Damien on it. And then I would do a question book, just because it's like, in this day and age, with the way that conspiracy theories are working, it makes a lot of sense to have a question book. It just feels like the right moment for it. And so it's just like there could be so many good and interesting ideas that you could mess with that, both that are like ripped from the pages, as well as, of course, your own like just superhero conspiracy theory type stuff. And that also kind of brings like a book that has like a ground level kind of feel to it for those people that might just be like, hey, I'm not looking for like all of the superhero biff bam boom type stuff. I would also do a book that is centered around Cassandra Cain. I don't know if I would make that an orphan book or maybe make her Batgirl. I'm not exactly sure which way to go with that, but one way or the other, just centered around her. So it's kind of like a Bat Family-ish kind of deal, but just with a different center, just because, we got her as Batgirl for what? Was it like a couple of years? Or was it just a year? I don't even remember, but
I forgot how many issues, but it was a few years,
yeah. Okay. But it just feels like, she's kind of been playing the background since then. And it would be interesting just because it feels like other people have gotten their shot. It would be interesting to kind of cycle her back through. And, that'd be a book that other Bat people could show up in if they want to as well. Which, is almost kind of, again, like the same kind of idea that you all were talking about, where it's like, just because the book is named one person doesn't mean other people can't show up or even have like story arcs within the book. So it's like, this is kind of like another opportunity, or this is an opportunity for other Bat Family people to kind of like be featured in a book that's not necessarily centered around Batman, so they don't have to be completely overshadowed. Then I would also do a Zatanna book. And the Zatanna book would actually kind of be the same way, like in the same way how you have an orphan book and it can have like feature some Bat Family people. The Zatanna book, in my mind, would be like, okay, that's where all the magic stuff happens. You can have like, your Dr. Fates and your Constantines, maybe Swamp Thing. I would actually make that book kind of like almost as if Zatanna was like informally deeming herself like the sorcerer or sorceress supreme, and just kind of being like, hey, magic is kind of running a little bit amok. Somebody needs to be regulating this stuff, and she kind of takes it upon herself to do it. And so that way it's like she's inserting herself into that world of DC and just, that part of the DC universe, and just deciding like, hey,
do you really see Zatanna playing that role?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where obviously Zatanna, at least, and again, I'm not the DC guy, so I can't speak to what Zatanna does and doesn't do. But in my limited experience, Zatanna's kind of been a bit all over the place. So there's like definitely showgirl Zatanna that's like happy-go-lucky, and then there's like edgier Zatanna that is just like, unhappy with the way she gets treated and how some people view her or whatever. And in my mind, it's like this is a little bit in between, where it's like a little bit leaning towards the edgier side, but at the same time, there's almost like a sense of duty that comes with it. And then it's also like, I'm doing this because I'm not sure anybody else that deals in this realm will. Especially in the DC universe, where you have your Dr. Fates, you have your Constantines. It's like, that doesn't seem like there's necessarily a magician that's like benevolent per se. And Zatanna seems like almost like the closest you get. But at the same time, because of that's the realm that she's dealing in, it's like, it's almost like an aspect of, well, the reason why there's no benevolent magicians is because of what they're dealing with. Like how magic works in the DC universe it almost corrupts you to a degree. So it's like, okay, well, she's gonna be the least corrupted one, or try to be. And in my mind, it's like you can go all types of places with that. Like in that storyline, I probably would make one of those people that I mentioned end up being like the big bad. Like maybe Constantine takes a heel turn and like ends up being the villain of that story, which would be interesting because of the relationship that they've kind of had in the past and whatnot too. So it's like, you know, I'd probably go that route. And then my last book, which it was funny because, again, like I said, I felt like a little bit of everything from all of what you all were talking about. My last book would be a villain's book or a villain book. But what it would be Ra's al Ghul. And so I don't know if you call it that or if you call it like Demon's Head or whatever, but it's like it would be a title about like that centers around Ra's al Ghul and just like his dealings and trying to make the world better from his perspective, which would still, you know, of course, be all messed up. But it would be things like, you know, a book about him and him trying to do what he's trying to do in the DC universe. And of course, coming across both heroes and villains that are trying to get in his way, and him like basically like outsmarting them or besting them, and trying to like, you know, like be like basically just Ra's al Ghul being awesome. Like I feel like that would be an interesting book. You know, it's like in my mind, it's almost like how like Marvel every so often makes like a Doom book. It would be like along that line, but actually I think it'd be better just because, you know, Doom has a lot of like resources, like not just only him being like having his own country and being rich, but, you know, because Ra's al Ghul basically has that. But then, you know, on top of that, Doom's like a magician and like a technical genius. And it's like, dude, like, yeah, of course you can take over the world because you have everything. Like you learn how to harness the energies of like the most powerful cosmic objects and all that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, at a certain point, you're just like, it's awesome that you do all this, but it's like, it's kind of a shame that you don't ever win with all these resources. And it's like Ra's al Ghul feels like he might actually do a lot more. Like he might accomplish a lot more with a lot less. So I'm like, oh, let's give that a go. I would love to read that book. So let's discuss real quick. What interests you about other people's lists, or what questions do you have about other people's lists in regards to like why this book, why that book?
I kind of don't have that many questions, only because I know you guys, so I see that. But yeah, I mean, the question I did have was the Zatanna thing, and the way you put it, like she's the one that's the closest thing to a benevolent magician in DC, you know.
Yeah.
And that if you're going to make a magic book with a clear cut hero, then that's the choice. Personally, I like the ambivalent Constantine book that now just got canceled, by the way, by AT&T. So yeah,
it's about AT&T. AT&T canceling books.
No, that's all they're doing. Like all the shit that's been going down has been because of that. So
yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. We need to do Hex books real quick. I'm sorry. Jay, do you give us Hex books?
Hecht in chat says he would do Action, Detective, Shazam, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, Nightwing, Justice League, Green Lantern, Titans, Swamp Thing, and Flash.
And then he has this addendum.
Shit, I should have scratched Nightwing from my list and put Vibe. Oh well.
That's just affirmative action on Hex's part.
It's interesting though, because I'm like I think you're absolutely right, but I'm not mad at the idea of like putting in like a Latin hero, but I'm just like, is Vibe the guy? And I'm like, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't who else is Latin in DC?
Kukulkan Khan.
Who?
Is it Kukulkan Khan? What's it? I forget his name.
I mean, I guess Jessica Cruz technically is Latina, but that's definitely not the same vibe as Vibe. But I thought about a Nightwing book too, just because.
Blue Beetle's Hispanic, isn't he?
Oh yeah, the new Blue Beetle. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Really, the new Blue Beetle now. I mean, he's been there for years.
I mean, not Ted Kord. How about that? Not Ted Kord Blue Beetle. Yes. I listen. I personally though would rather read a Vibe book than that Blue Beetle. Like the character is all right, but he's not really that interesting to me.
Well, when you had a white guy writing him in Spanglish, like he didn't know how to use Spanglish, it was terrible.
Yeah, and you're right. Listen, it's not to say that he could never be interesting. I'm not saying that, but I'm just like on the face of things. Like, let's say you get like somebody that actually understands Latin people and that could actually bring a Latin character to life. All things being equal, I still think I'd rather read Vibe. But you know what though? I just feel also too Vibe probably has a lot more wiggle room. Like I feel like that Blue Beetle is a little bit more established, which is sad to say. But I do think it's true.
So I guess my question for Lawrence is, why would you go with the Young Justice book as opposed to a Teen Titans book?
You know, I kind of felt as though Young Justice feels like a little bit fresher. Like Teen Titans, of course, is the classic teen book, but I kind of feel like Teen Titans has like a certain amount of like weight and history to it, where it's like you might be able to get away with a lot more in a Young Justice book, which I mean, I think is evidenced by the last Young Justice that came out, right? Like, didn't the last Young Justice have like Ginny Hex in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think like you could not have done that in Teen Titans, I don't feel. I feel like Teen Titans is like it's almost like it's like the I don't want to say it like this, but this is the best way I can think of saying it. It's like the sidekick Justice League. You know what I'm saying? Like Teen Titans at this point doesn't feel like it's a sidekick team. It feels like it's the next Justice League, like the Justice League farm team. And I don't want the Justice League farm team book. I want like the Teen Heroes book. And I don't feel like Teen Titans is the Teen Heroes book anymore. It's like the Justice League farm team. I mean, and that might be, you know what? That very well might be because they put Cyborg in the Justice League. You know, like
you clipped out for a second.
Oh, I said that might be because they put Cyborg in the Justice League, and Cyborg was such a core part of Teen Titans too. So maybe that, yeah. But that was my reasoning, where it's just like, you know, in my mind, like, it's almost in the same way how like when you like look at the X-Men, like the teen X-Men book used to be New Mutants. And then the New Mutants were like all older. And it's like, you know, like you have a New Mutants book right now. And there are some people in it that are like, you know, younger, new, like that are actually some of the newer mutants. But it really isn't the New Mutants. It's like literally like that book is still about like the people that were New Mutants when that book came out, and all those people are adults now. So it almost kind of feels like that same kind of deal where it's like, you know, if you want like fresher take, it's like Young Justice might be the way to go. Yeah, but it's all like it is definitely more of like a marketing decision than it is like historically speaking from like, you know, the DC universe history.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually a little shocked, Oz, that you didn't go with the more classic titles for Superman, Batman. Like you literally made like a Superman and a Batman book as opposed to like action and detective.
Yeah, you don't really need those.
Actually, it said action and detective.
Oh, you did say action and detective?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the traditional one.
right.
Action is my Batman book. Detective is my Batman book.
Right. Okay. So wait, was it you, Mo, that said a Superman book and a Batman book then, or did you said action and detective too? Right?
Oh no, I didn't say action.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm sorry. I was thinking about Mo then as opposed to Oz. Yeah, I think you do need a Mo just because, dude, it's like you got like 1,000+ issues in those joints. Like, if you're only gonna have one Superman book or one Batman book,
I think he's saying we.
Well, here's the thing. You're gonna have those because they're institutions, and we saw when New 52 put them on, they were of those respective icons books. Those were the lower quality books.
right?
I mean, so it's like you feel like you have to have them, and then they're not good. Like, what's the fucking point? Just bring them out later. Like, I mean, detective and action. I don't know about action that much, but I know detective wasn't about Batman first.
That's true. Neither was. Oh no, Action Comics 1 was about Superman. You're right.
It was about Superman, but I don't know about Action Comics number 2.
You're right. You're right.
That so it's like technically, like, I mean, you got House of Mystery. House of Mystery became, what was it, like a Constantine book or something, or in Marvel, Journey into Mystery became a Loki book, but it's just it's Loki. It's not Journey into Mystery. It's not the anthologies that they were doing in the era of EC Comics. Like those are all throwbacks to a time when you used to just buy that title for something new and different every time, and I don't see a real need for that now.
That's fair. And again, it might just be like, there's definitely a part of me that's a traditionalist. So in my mind, I'm like, if there's only one Superman book, in my mind, it should be Action Comics. But
yeah,
I could totally see somebody saying like, hey, it doesn't make sense to have a Superman book and it's the only Superman book and you don't call it Superman.
Like if I had, I mean, we had the era of, you had Action Comics, Superman, Man of Steel, right, and then I get the other one, Adventures of Superman, or something. And that's 4 books a month. Not all of them were good. If anything, like if I would keep a detective and an action around, that would be like just one-shot stories of these characters. And maybe other characters related to these guys that would be your impulse buy at the register. Like that wouldn't be what the books. That would be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna see what's going on here. And you don't have to come back for a second one. But I think that's that is the problem with comics, is that they need you to come back for the next issue, and that ruins something like detective or action. Because it's like that's just another story to follow instead of, you know what, this is going to be an extra $4 in our pocket, because they feel more inclined to buy a random issue than to start from a certain arc.
Right. I will say too that I feel like, Jay, your plan is super brave with none of those single title books. Like, say what?
It's brave and bold.
Exactly. Because I'm just like, man, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I would want to deal with the folks that are like, where's my Batman book? And, you have to be like, oh, it's right here, but it's just all the Bat family. What?
Because it's funny because, Joe complains, where's this person? And you're like, oh, he's right here.
Right.
Marvel books, and then he gets mad.
Yeah. Jay is 100% behind the Jubilee solo series ongoing. Hey, right. But then when he's like, well, I'm making your DC books, no one gets a solo book. Superman. I don't care how many pairs of underwear you have with his logo on it. He's like, read Justice League. You're welcome. That's wild. That's really wild. But yeah, man. Well, cool, man. Hey, good job, fellas. Like that. Yeah, that's really interesting. Like, I'm just like, I am like, I definitely would like to see some of the books that you all propose get made. I think it'd be a breath of fresh air over at DC. But you know, at this point,
I don't need that acid reflux.
At this point, it's like, man, like, oh look, all the people got fired, all the people got all the folks got or the books got canceled, or like what? How many titles in this past like week? Was it like 12?
Yeah. I thought it was 15, but it could be closer.
No, it's probably 15. I wasn't keeping close track. I was just like, man, that's a lot of titles though. And you know, it's just like, hey,
they cut all the titles I'm reading, so.
And dude, like that was like a common thing that I saw in different threads as I read like comments and stuff where people were just like, well, they basically got rid of everything I was reading. And I'm like, damn, like, which is messed up because it wasn't like, it was like people were like reading like 2 books. It was like people reading like 4 or 5 books and they just happened to cancel all of the 4 or 5 they were reading. And I'm like, damn, like how, like, and don't get me wrong. I totally get that. If your books are okay, you're not going to be like, well, it's okay because everything I'm reading is still there. Like that's the butthole move. So I get you're not going to see that comment often, but you know, it's interesting just how it turned out. So yeah. All right. Well, shoo.
Hex said, get the license for Condorito.
Condorito. That's my 13th book. Condorito. The Awakening.
According to this, I was just looking at the Hispanic characters, Cal Rayner.
Oh, what? Yeah. You know what? I think that is true, right? He's like half, right?
Half Mexican, yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. Like, Oz had no clue. He's like, I like him a little less now.
Yeah. He's like, Oz, like, he's half Mexican, half human.
That's messed up.
Don't look at me. I said that.
Oh, jeez, man. Yeah, so, yeah, that'll be interesting. I think you're right, though, Oz. I think Kyle Rayner would be one of the Green Lanterns I kill off. Like, Kyle Rayner, for whatever reason, feels like he really doesn't have a place anymore. Like, after he was, like, the White Lantern, it's kind of like, okay. He kind of peaked right there. It's like,
hey, that's kind of messed up now. Like, if he's part Hispanic, that totally changes the New Guardian story where he breaks through the source wall.
oh wow, really? this fool was trying to illegally enter the universe. Oh, that's funny. That's rough, man. This fool's a interstellar immigrant.
I thought you were gonna say interstellar wetback.
Oh my god! Why? What? Why would I even say such a thing? Like,
because it'd be shocking and fun.
Oh no, man! I can't do that. Oh my god!
It's cringy and funny.
It is both. However, I would not feel comfortable saying that at all. All right. So Oz, I know that you actually may have to dip out sometime sooner than later. Anything else you want to talk about before you gotta
go? I quickly looked up Kyle Rayner under race, and it's an article about how presenting Kyle Rayner as Latino is racist.
Why is it racist? The click.
I'd have to read the whole article because
gotcha.
It really like the little blurb just says that he's Irish American, and just because he found out his dad was Mexican, like he wasn't raised like that, so he shouldn't be presented as Mexican.
He hates himself now.
I don't know. It's whatever.
I could see people calling it a cop out, but it's never really been a part of that character. Like, so I don't think people.
Right, I didn't even know about it.
Yeah,
it had to be like a page or something because I didn't even know about it.
It'd be hilarious if this will just takes like a sharp turn all of a sudden. Like his dad is Mexican. He's like, it's for la raza.
If he thought he was Irish American and then finds out he's part Mexican, okay, so he's gonna salute a flag that's red, white, and green. He's gonna be Catholic. He's gonna have a bunch of kids. He's gonna drink. Like, it's the same thing. Mexican. Like, his wife's gonna be barefoot and pregnant all the time. Mexican Irish. That's the same thing.
It's just a matter of swiping out the Guinness for the Corona.
The only thing is the president's not gonna like him. That's it. That's the only difference. Like,
definitely Rainer. Rainer's on the kill list on my Green Lantern Corps book.
It's like another Corps is coming after him. It's like, you're an intergalactic police. We're on Earth police. Put the ice in police.
Yeah.
I'll play this review music and we'll get into these comments.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Well, I'm out.
All right.
All right, I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Be safe. Comic book
review.
Comic book
like review. Well, not like that, but like.
That's the joint. I like it. I like it. All right. Moses, why don't you talk to us about Junji Ito's Smashed?
So it's a horror anthology. You know how much I love those. And
we do know.
So I watched the collection for a review sometime last year, the anime on Crunchyroll. And I thought it was wild. It was a little weird. And so I'm like, you know what? They have this. I thought it was on sale, and it might very well be. It came up on the suggested ad on some algorithm on my phone. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy this shit right now. And, it's not easy buying stuff on Comixology if you have iOS. So I actually had to wait.
Oh, really?
So my impulse buy took about 72 hours.
Wait, why is it hard to buy it?
Because it's Amazon, and they make it hard to buy things on Amazon apps on iOS because they don't get it.
Really?
Yeah. So
Comixology
on my phone says everything on a wish list, and then if I log in to Comixology on my computer, then it's like, oh, here's your cart, and then I buy it from there. Then I can just download it on my iOS. So
that's wild. So they make you go through like literally an entire extra hoop.
Right. And I don't like it, but there's not much I can do about it. I mean, if Amazon decided to make a tablet or a phone that was actually worth it, I'd just switch over to that, but they haven't, so I'm not gonna. And so I put it on my wish list. I fired up the Kindle, charged it up, bought it, and then downloaded it on my iPad. And I read. It's 400 pages for $15. Now, that's a lot of stories. I don't know how many. They're like 20 stories or something in there, and they're fast reads. Like I think the first story is about 35 pages, but it goes by quick. I read about 3. My favorite one of the 3 that I read was one called Earthbound, The Earthbound. And it's just a story. Like, actually, I'll share the screen with you real quick.
Okay.
Cancel that.
I don't think I got to read that one, unfortunately.
What a douche.
I know. I was just thinking that about myself. I'm like, what a douche.
But that's the picture right there. You can see it. This little lady goes to her apartment and just finds a dude planted there. So in this story,
that sucks.
Yeah,
it's so creepy.
Yeah. And I actually feel like getting that tattoo of just a dude crucified like that. It just looks so cool. But
That's what you see, huh? You see cool when you see that, huh?
Oh yeah. It looks tight. So Junji Ito's horror stories are a little weird because they're grounded in like everyday life. So they feel like slice of life stories when you see these characters experiencing these things. And, like the first one was about anorexia and bulimia, mm-hmm. And it's really about that, but then it just takes this crazy horror, creepy turn. And this one is actually about these people that just show up to these places and they can't move. They're just grounded in that spot. And when they try to move them, they actually break apart and like pieces of their body fall off. Like they want to stay there and they're trying to figure out why. And this lady right here in this picture you see, she actually is kind of working for a press group that's kind of investigating this, and she's asking them questions and they don't know why, and she figures out that it's because they're drawn to these areas because of their guilt. So it turns out that dude that she finds was the dude that assaulted her in the past, and he actually assaulted the previous tenant of this apartment, and that's why he was drawn to that. And it was a weird turn, and it got dark quick. And it's more of a psychological vibe to that one because it's just like, wow, like they gave you a lot of this context from these people and this main character in a short amount of time with just dialogue, not even like narration and stuff like that. So I felt that story was particularly impressive and enjoyable to me. I didn't get any further beyond this, but I'm gonna
I'm
reading these.
It's funny because I was talking to my friend Raymond today, and Raymond is big on Japanese culture and anime and manga, and he's asking. He asked me, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing for the rest of the day?" And I'm like, "Man, I got to go back home and read this Junji Ito stuff for the show tonight." And he's like, "You do like." I notoriously don't go to Not Scary Farm. Every year, my friends these guys that go to Not Scary Farm, and they always try to entice me to go with them. Like literally, like we'll pay for your ticket, we'll buy all your food. We just want you to come. I'm like, no, I'm not going. They like literally they're like, hey man, I'll buy you this if you come to Not Scary Farm. I'm like, I don't want to go to Not Scary Farm. I'm good. And this fool literally said to me, he's like, you won't go to Not Scary Farm, but you'll read Junji Ito? That's what he said to me. And I was like, dude, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, Junji Ito is like a book. And so I feel a lot more in control of what I'm reading, even though it's still scary. It's eerie as hell. You know what I'm saying? But it was funny to me that in his mind, he's like, walking or going to a theme park that turns into like a live action horror movie. Like reading a Junji Ito comic is equitable. To him, he's like, a person in real life might chase you with a chainsaw. And that's the same thing as reading Junji Ito. and you know what? I was reading it today and I was like, you know what? I understand because I was like creeped out. I was like, literally, I was reading it digitally and I'm like flipping from page to page and there's literally, I can feel the tension in regards to me getting ready to flip to the next page because I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to see. And I'm like, this fool's good. This fool's good. Because I don't feel that with every horror thing I read. Some horror things are just like, I'm gonna see something, but I don't, I'll be fine. It's gonna be interesting as opposed to terrifying. And with Junji Ito, I'm like, it might mess me up a little bit for a little while. So hopefully I'll read it every
day. One of the standout qualities of this, his art style is that it's not very, it's the layouts are good, but it's not a lot of detail. Like you just see a lot of white negative space, and it's not gray washed. It's just flat, but it manages to stick out and create that ambiance. And it happens with every story. And it from watching the anime of the Junji Ito collection and reading it, the color and stuff doesn't take it away, but I really do like that stripped down style. There's one where it's a bunch of people stickling people, and that looked crazy as hell. It's like, man, if they did this in live action, they'd probably just ruin this aesthetic.
Yeah. Jay, what'd you think of Smashed?
I liked it. I read the whole thing today.
You read the whole thing?
Yeah. I mean, some of these I had read before.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I was able to go through them. I did reread them, but
yeah,
they went a little faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this book a lot. Smashed is actually one of my favorite Junji Ito stories. Because it's Junji Ito is known for not being a deep person. He just will look at something in everyday life and then just make it horrifying. And Smashed is kind of I can see how he did that, but it also
you cut out for a second. It also what?
Well, it's kind of weird because I feel like you could, because what it's about is these people are eating honey and they have to try and avoid being seen, but then they eat it anyway, and then they get smashed. And it's man, there's so many people out there figuratively, metaphorically trying to get that honey, and then they get smashed. They just can't help it. And it's it just resonates with me.
Word. Yeah.
I will go into more detail, but you guys haven't read it, so.
Word.
And I know Mo is probably going to at some point, and you probably will not.
Oh, listen. Well, I appreciate that subliminal shade. I'll take it.
Well, if we get 300,000 likes, Larry will read the rest of it. And
I listen. I guarantee you, if we get 300,000 likes, I will read the rest of it. That's without question. So I need every person listening to like it 50,000 times. Every person listening, 50,000. Go between now and next week.
No, it's kind of a shame. There used to be a dude that did horror narrations of Junji Ito stories.
What happened to him?
I think he got into some copyright issues, even though he wasn't monetizing. And I think he did end up getting into some copyright issues, and so he bounced and went to Instagram. But they were really good because it was still interesting. But since he's kind of walking you through it, it's a little less intense. Even though you can still get he's showing the artwork, and the artwork is a lot of what's horrifying about Junji Ito. It's kind of like he's holding your hand through it.
Okay.
And I think that would have been good for you.
Yes, I would agree. Speaking of horrifying artwork, can we talk about Cat Diary?
Yes.
And we'll come back to Smashed, obviously, because I know we're gonna do like a little bit of compare and contrast here. So tell the people what Cat Diary is.
Basically, Junji Ito, his wife got a cat, and he kind of made a comic about it. And it's a slice of life comic, but drawn with the horror art style. Like it's normal art, and he still does all his normal tricks to like fuck with you. Like his wife doesn't have like pupils, and he goes like he does the things where like you'll zoom into the eye and like show all the veins and does the body like morphing, but it's all just like your standard pardon me, slice of life stuff. Like his wife buys a cat tower and he doesn't want to put it together, and then the next panel is him putting it together.
Yeah.
Even though the drawings are horrifying, like it's pretty cool to me. Like I love the contrast, and between him telling like a story to be scary and him telling a story meant to be funny, drawn in this horror artwork, like it's amazing to me. Like, and it's so fun. It just makes it funnier. Like, I don't think it would be as funny if it was like normal artwork. And you've got this horror artwork, and it's like, man, like this is terrifyingly funny.
Mo, you get the chance to mess with this at all?
I did not.
Okay.
Unfortunately, but it sounds interesting. I saw that it's like autobiographical, so then the way Joe explained it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't remember that when I read it.
Wait, you said what? You didn't remember what?
I didn't remember or know that it was autobiographical when I read it.
Oh.
And so I was fully prepared for something terrible to happen. Especially like you said, like it's kind of played for laughs, but it is still in that horror art style, like you said. Like, and the eye is the perfect example, because there was a point where the eye, like they do a close up of his eye, thinking about this cat that's coming to his house, and I was just like, oh damn, this cat's gonna be terrible. And then the cat comes, and it's like, oh dude, it does have a cursed face. I agree. That cat is gonna kill them in their sleep. And that's going to be a shame, because I'm not even sure if anyone's going to find them except for the other cat. And I'm just like, well, that's the way it goes when you mess with Junji Ito. Sometimes cuddly pets kill you in your sleep. But that didn't happen yet. I read 2 chapters. I know we were only talking about chapter 1, but I read 2 chapters.
You got further than me.
Yeah, unless chapters are different. I don't know. Like, yeah, but I think I read 2 chapters. But yeah, it's interesting just because it's like, I have cats myself, and I was just like, are my cats dangerous?
You know how scary.
Yeah, well, listen.
Remember, Oz isn't even here, but his wife, Amber, remember, she used to say that Selena was possessed.
I do remember that. Yeah, I'm not certain that she was wrong. So I'm just like, okay.
And Boston's just a dick.
But yeah, man, it's wild. But it was, I mean, I personally found both of these books really interesting. And it was definitely a thing where, like, the only thing that stopped me from reading both was knowing that I actually had to come on the show or reading both to completion was that I had to come and do this show tonight, because I was like, okay, well, I need to stop, or else other stuff that, like the show's not going to be ready, So I was like, okay, well, yeah, but it's good stuff, man. It's really interesting, just like how this person's mind works. and I don't know, like, it's a talent. Like, the dude thinks in darkness,
and it's weird because, well, I didn't hear him talk, but I know Joe saw his panel at Comic-Con at home, and he had some criticism of how weird it was to have him talk. I don't know, was it just a translation thing, or was his overall vibe, Joe?
No, it was just like listening to him, and because he's speaking Japanese, and just like he's giving like these full-on answers, and so I would be listening for like 3 or 5 minutes, and then to him like give his answer in Japanese, and then listening to the translator give it. It was just throwing me off a little.
Okay. So it wasn't his overall vibe.
No.
Like, Ethel's probably like real regular, and that's the scary part.
Well, I get that sense from a lot of Japanese culture where it's like that's your escape so that you can be normal.
Right. It's like catharsis.
Yeah, where here it's kind of like somebody tells something like that, you're like,
Right.
What's in the closet? Yeah.
Right. In America, that's called planning.
Yeah.
Like, I wrote a story about killing 5 people for no apparent good reason. And you're like, oh, okay. And then 2 years later, that dude kills 6 people. Yeah. It was actually restraint that he was showing in his stories.
I was telling about it. Like, it's a happy accident. Bonus.
Right.
I put a link in our Twitch chat.
Okay, cool.
It's this Korean tattoo artist. I believe it's a she. And she does a lot of Junji Ito inspired tattoos.
Oh, okay.
And now with the pandemic, it's a lot of inspired art.
Oh, only for the Twitch chat. YouTube chat, screw you guys. No.
Yeah, the whole thing to put it in there, and it's gonna sound because StreamYard doesn't let me actually take part in chat.
Wait, really?
Like, I mean, I see the chat, but I can't like type in the chat. I can do private chat, but I can't do.
Oh, put it in private chat. I'll put it in both things, or I'll put it in YouTube too. Because I'm just like, wait, what? Like, I thought you could see both chats too, but
no,
I might be wrong.
I can, like, I was trying to put it on Discord so that I can pick it up here, but my computer's processor is acting up. So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so, I put it in private chat. And you can
thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
But yeah. I give the Smashed Anthology 5 out of 5, and I want a Junji Ito tattoo done by that artist.
I'm gonna go look at the Instagram after the show. Yeah. Well, actually, maybe tomorrow morning. Maybe tomorrow morning.
And here's the thing: a lot of Junji Ito's art, and by extension, the inspired art from this tattoo artist, Suzani. That's her Instagram handle. It's actually very like innocent looking, even though it can be scary looking. I think part of it is the actual story that scares you more than the actual visuals. At least me. But
it's all that for me. All that. But no, I feel where you're coming from. You're right. Like, I mean, one thing that makes, like, once you start reading Junji Ito is he definitely sets a tone. And so, the story, like, everything is working in concert, obviously. But I do think some of the images are strange in and of themselves. But I can definitely think of some images that look creepy. Or they seem like they look creepy because of what I'm reading. But they very well, like, with no context, it might be fine. it actually might be like comical without context. So, I could think of that in the second story in the anthology. What's that called? The one with the comedy troupe girls.
Oh yeah, go to prime time.
Right. Like I feel like they're like what they look like without context very well might be considered comical, but because of the story, it's like, nah, this is creepy. So, yeah. Jay, what'd you think of Smashed? What would you rate it?
I liked it. I would rate it a 4.
Yeah.
Like, Shuichi's in it, and I'm not a fan of him. But, at least he gets his ass kicked.
Joe got vendettas against fictional characters. They deserve it. They deserve it. Yeah, it's fantastic. Which I think I give it 4.5. It's a great read. If you're not familiar with Junji Ito's stuff and you enjoy manga and horror, or manga or horror, you should mess with it. If you enjoy both, it's like a must read. So just that simple. So I'd give it a 4.5. What would you rate Cat Diary, Jay?
I would say 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really funny and it's fun, like seeing the contrast of horror artwork with comedy, slice of life. Like I like it.
Yeah, it's at least based on what I've read from Junji Ito previously, it's definitely way different, and in a good way. I can't tell you that there'll be less tension because I know for me it was still tense reading, even though it was light after the fact, like looking back on it. But I enjoyed it. I would give it a 4. It's not what Junji Ito is known for, but it's still well done. And I think you would enjoy it. It'll be like if you're like, okay, I'm a fan of this person, it feels like something you need to read for at the very least for completionist kind of purposes, like, so you can have a breadth of what Junji Ito is capable of. So yeah, it's good stuff. Cool. Good job, gents. I know we're coming to the close of things here. Oh, Jesus, Moses. What are you doing? What is that? No.
That's one of the tattoos.
This was supposed to wait for the morning, Mo.
Yeah, but I couldn't.
Look at the face is all dysmorphed.
And unfortunately, I couldn't show you the top part because StreamYard only lets me do a certain type. So I'm a.
Why don't you can share this the like you're putting that in place of your screen, but can't you share?
Yeah, but
oh Jesus,
right there.
You can't share.
It looks better this way.
Okay.
I don't see the borders with my search and all that. Yeah.
Got you. I think you should not show that until the morning.
I'm thinking of getting the tattoo, but I don't. The thing is, that artist specifically said that she doesn't want people using her art unless she actually tattoos. So that's why I haven't. But I gotta fix my green screen.
So she's like, "Don't get tattoos of my art. That's after somebody else's art, unless you get it from me."
Yeah, exactly. Because she's not like tracing his art; she's creating art based on that influence.
Yeah, and I guess I could see that. Oh man, listen, I just need you to be off the show because you got that. Yeah, you got that dude behind you, and that's creepy as hell. That's been there the whole time. I didn't know what it was before.
Yeah, well now you do.
Well, and that's why
That was my green screen the whole time.
Oh well, see, listen, I didn't realize that was a person. Because see, because I couldn't see his pants. The pants are what makes it truly terrifying when you put the khakis on. It's like, oh my god. It's like that guy's corporate and terrifying.
Yeah.
He's
Want to do the news at all before we leave? Or?
I mean, we can if you all want to do it real quick. It's up to you all. How do you all feel about it? You want some news?
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that stands out. I mean, they canceled what is it? They're trying to they fired the guy from Squidbillies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. There's the what else?
And you're saying you think Harmon might be on the horizon too, huh?
Yeah. I think they're gonna make an argument where it's like, oh, racism is bad, but pedophilia is good. Like that might force their hand to fire him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of. Oh, what do you say, Jay?
Conversation we had back in the day about
if it's
okay to rape dolls or not.
Did we actually have that conversation?
Mm-hmm.
You guys did. I had no part of that.
No, you did. You said it was okay.
Oh, it's dolls. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, you're sick.
Well, listen, I'm just happy to know that I was consistent. Because I was just like, hey, I'm like, I don't think he's gonna get fired only because it's not a real person. You know, it's like it's distasteful.
Yeah, but isn't that part of COVID's thing too? Like you lose taste. He's a victim.
So, a little bit of bad news.
Okay.
Nichelle Nichols, who played Uhura on Star Trek: The Original Series, was a victim of elder abuse.
Oh, fuck.
So now the family has launched a GoFundMe abuser, and if you want to do that, you can find that on GoFundMe.
Yeah, I did hear a little bit about this story, and that it sounds terrible. Or well, what I'll say is this: obviously, if she was the victim of elder, say what?
It sounds like you're going to be like, it sounds terrible, but
well, it's not. But it's more that the way that I've heard the story, and again, like obviously, I'm hearing it secondhand. It seems strange the way that it's being put out there and presented. It's almost like she got scammed, not like physically abused or anything like that, which is still elder abuse, mind you. It's just that it feels like a lot of the story doesn't necessarily, like, I don't know if it was the way that it was told to me, but the details don't necessarily seem to add up. And at the end of the day, it's not like it's Nichelle Nichols coming asking for money. It's like her son, right? Is it her son, Jay?
It doesn't say, or I don't see which family member it is.
Oh, okay. And I'm not saying she has to come and beg us or anything like that, because Lord knows, it's like, dude, Nichelle Nichols is an OG and deserves, like, all her flowers now, and is like, trailblazed in television. It's just that it would lend more to the credibility to, hear something, I guess, from her, as opposed to just like it second and third hand, So I'm hoping that it all gets, cleared up and people help her if she needs help.
The story here says the suit is against Nichols' former caretaker and alleges that Nichols was financially abused by a person pretending to protect her interests.
Yeah. That's
Mr. Marion Smothers launched a campaign to help cover the legal fees involved with the suit, which hopes to recoup money allegedly stolen from Nichols.
Like I heard that oh, go ahead.
The Shields Up Nichelle Nichols GoFundMe campaign was at $35,000 of its $100,000 goal.
Yeah, the whole, like, you know, I guess like the person that was supposed to be the caretaker got power of attorney and all this kind of stuff, and I'm just like, how do they get power of attorney? Like, if, you know, it's not like she was like incapacitated mentally or physically. So what would be the need for the person to have power of attorney? And like, you know, I don't know. It just seems like a weird like stream of events. So I'm just like, okay, well, yeah. But I hope she's okay, and I hope it turns out like she deserves things to be good for her, you know, throughout the rest of her life. She did enough that, you know, and brought enough joy to so many people that it's just like, and like trailblazed, I mean, in real ways, you know. So it's just like, I hope that she gets all the things that are coming to her.
Now, Joe, earlier you kind of cut off when you were talking about the GoFundMe details. So you said they're asking for money to put a hit on the abuser? Is that what it was?
Yeah, to get the money back.
Oh, okay.
I was in chat, says we talked about sex dolls. Did we?
We did, but yeah. Yeah, we talked.
That's not what I was referring to. I was referring to a comic, and I don't remember the name, but in it, a guy rapes this family's daughter, and Mo and Lawrence thought it was cool because she was a doll instead of like living. And I'm like, dude, it's their daughter, whether she's alive or not. It's still their daughter. Like, raping someone's daughter is fucked up. And I don't remember the title of the comic, but Mo might remember.
I do not remember, but I almost saw your lip quiver when you said Mo. I almost saw your lip quiver, the Joe facetious lip quiver where you go.
No, it wasn't facetious. Like,
no. I said I almost saw it. I didn't. You know, you didn't do it. Yeah, but
I'm looking for it. Where's the lip? There it is. There it is.
You remember what comic that was, Mo?
No, I don't. Dang.
Actually, what I've been wanting to ask you, because your memory is so awesome,
yeah,
but it's been in the back of my head lately. There was a comic we reviewed about the superhero like talent show where it was like American Idol but with superheroes.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, it was. Was it written by Fialkov?
Sorry, you cut out?
Yeah, was it written? I think it was written by Josh Fialkov on Image, and it was. Shit. Let me see. Damn it! I'm actually Googling his bibliography right now. But, yeah, I remember. I remember. I think I know the one you're talking about, but let's see. No, that's not it.
Okay.
Maybe it wasn't Fialkov. Well,
I don't know.
Doesn't have anything on Image, but
I just remember the art was gorgeous, and I've been kind of wanting to re-get that.
Yeah.
I can't for the life of me remember the name of it. And I know I went to Images because I thought it was Image, and I went to the homepage, and I'm like,
I thought it was
all the titles, and like none of them is ringing a bell.
Damn it. Yeah, I remember actually reviewing it. Like, I remember what we were wearing and where we were sitting, but I don't remember the title. Because it was at Larry's house on a Wednesday night. And Larry and I were both in the middle couch, and you were off to the side, and you were wearing jeans and a button-down shirt, kind of like what you're wearing now. And
it's a superhero talent show comic.
Yeah, it's kind of like American Idol,
where they have like a group of superheroes, and they're all competing to join their version of the Justice League. And apparently, she lies. Like, the reason she's joining is because she actually has a vendetta against the Justice League's main villain, and so they're like have a little conflict, but then they forgive her and let her go. And then when she gets a chance to fight him, she like fucks everyone over, and then she has to, like, make everything right again.
Man, I mean, that sounds interesting.
No, it was great. And the art was beautiful.
I'm just trying to see if it's something that I might be able to find real quick, but I don't see it. It's like when you start putting America in with superhero comics, all you get are Marvel. All you get is Captain America, Miss America, America Made. It's like, okay, we get it. So in other news, they recently added just FYI, the HasLab Marvel Legends Sentinel is in its final 5 days of funding. It smashed through all the tier goals or whatnot, but they added one. They added for 16,000 backers. It's a Tri-Sentinel head. So right now it's currently at like 14,000, well, almost 15,000 backers. So we got five days to add another like 1,200 backers if people want that Tri-Sentinel head with all the other tiers that they've gotten. Basically, it's coming with like 2 figures, 2 tendrils, battle damaged, Sentinel head in hand, Master Mold head.
Nice. And
I think that's it. It comes with a Bastion and a Sentinel Prime, a female Sentinel Prime figure.
But like real Bastion, right?
Yeah, actual Bastion, yeah. Like a Marvel Legends, 6-inch Bastion. So it'll fit in with the rest of the line. It's good stuff, man. And it's really interesting though. The funny part is they announced the Tri-Sentinel head yesterday, actually. It was yesterday that they made that announcement, among other announcements with Venom, the Venom line for Marvel Legends. And it's so funny, man. Like, I'm like, man, you can't please all the fans, man. Because some cats were like, Tri-Sentinel head? What's the use of having a Tri-Sentinel head if you don't have a Tri-Sentinel body that has 6 arms? I was just like, what? My guy, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like, I mean, the Tri-Sentinel has 6 arms because it's like 3 Sentinels fused together. So it does have 6 arms.
Yeah.
Well, why would you be mad at that? Like,
I mean, the reality is like if you already funded it and you just happen to get an additional head that wasn't even a part of the original campaign, I'm just like,
I mean, if they don't like it, they could throw it away. Like,
you literally don't have to use it. But
right.
it's like, to me, I'm just like, dude, like, I mean, of course it's not going to have 6 arms because it's not the Tri-Sentinel. It was the Sentinel.
I'm more mad that you don't get a little tiny Spider-Man to like punch his foot. Like, was it Amazing Spider-Man 131?
To punch the Sentinel foot?
Yeah, like that cover for Amazing Spider-Man 131.
This is how deep Moses's Spider-Man fandom goes. Like, I say Sentinel, which is obviously an X-Men thing, and he's like, I remember when Spider-Man was involved with that thing. Like the random one issue that has Spider-Man punching a Sentinel foot. And he's like, why doesn't it come with a Spider-Man? Well, Spider-Man isn't, and well, I guess technically he might be an X-Man, but he's not an X-Man. You better stop it. Hold on. Let me full screen you. Damn. Come on, man. I'm sitting here like I don't know what that's from. I've never seen that before. It's like, but now I'm as angry as you are. Where's my Spider-Man that punches the Sentinel foot, Hasbro? Bunch of you guys resting on your laurels over here.
It was issue 329.
Oh, okay. Hey, listen, the fact that you just remember it off the top of your head is amazing. Okay. I hope one day to have a memory in that way, shape, or form. And just half of that memory capacity. I'm sitting here like, what did I have for breakfast? I don't know.
It was an Acts of Vengeance epilogue.
Acts of Vengeance. That's a Ghost Rider story?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I remember that. But yeah. So anyway, I say all that to say, if you don't have, or if you're looking to get a kick-ass Sentinel, you have 5 days, or else, and after that, then you have to get charged an arm and a leg in the aftermarket for it. So, mess with it.
Now, I believe we mentioned this on the show already, but today, the 300th issue of Heavy Metal came out.
Oh.
So congratulations, you guys. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to subscribe because nobody sells it anymore.
Dang, that's crazy. End of an era, man.
You could buy it on Comixology.
Yeah, but I want physical because it comes at a big size and everything. But we'll figure it out. Are we playing wrap-up music?
Yeah, let's do it. Jay, give us some final thoughts, buddy.
So tonight, starting at midnight, so Thursday, 3 new episodes of Infinity Train come out.
Sounds good. Moses Magnum, final thoughts.
If you like what we talked about, Junji Ito, you might like Shintaro Kago. I put the link in our Twitch chat. If you're listening on Twitch, you can see that. Larry could probably put it on. I put it in so you could put it on YouTube, Larry. And Google Shintaro Kago. It's the shit.
Sounds good. I put it there. For the entire Fantastic Forum, Oz included, thank you all for listening. We do appreciate you. If you have any thoughts in regards to what it is that we're doing here on the show, and you want to either chime in on what you liked, or you want to tell us about something we should cover, or you want to tell us what you didn't like and what we should change, feel free to go ahead and put those comments into the chat if you like. Or you can always hit us on Instagram, Fantastic Forum on Instagram, and either comment on something that we have there, slide into our DMs, whatever you like to do, man. You can make that happen. So for the entire Fantastic Forum, thank you again. We do appreciate you, and we'll be back next week.